Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the latest edition of the 2300 Pod. Nate Maxon here with you. Of course, as always, I am joined by my brother Aaron.
Hello.
And ECW star, Chad Austin.
Yeah,
Superstar.
We got to change that title to star. I don't. Star, wait, maybe ECW, he saw stars. Because I don't know what I start in other than taking finishes and chokeslams.
ECW participant.
Did you say ECW participant?
Participant.
I'll take that.
This week's show, we are going to be covering the episode from June 1st, 1993, and a little more positive. I think we're going to have a little more positive show about this product this week. Maybe not wholly positive, but a little more positive, because a couple of things that I wrote down, and I'll get into them as we talk, is one of the main things is the show wasn't awful, and you can also see a kind of a mixing of booking philosophies now. It seems to me. It seems like you're starting to see Eddie and Paulie both influencing the product. Do you guys agree with me on that?
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that Gilbert probably had the idea of where they were going a long time ago, and maybe Paulie just kind of like tweaked a little bit of stuff, kind of helped, But yeah, this was clearly had to have been the last of the almighty Cabrini College shows, because as we'll get to later on in the show, that they started integrating other footage.
Yes.
Which means that they didn't, with the recaps and the integrating of other footage, you can clearly see that there wasn't a whole lot left.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like where Eddie wanted to take this. This is where he was cutting, this is where we're going to do all this and these 2 months of tapings or whatever, and then we're going to move to the arena. And yeah, but Paulie may have had something more to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this had more continuity. Like, things started to make more sense on this, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But did you notice during the opening, I kept forgetting to say this, when they show all the guys that worked there, like Ivan Koloff and all that stuff, I want to say as the Sandman, there's a sign in the background with the Sandman that says, anything goes Friday nights. Did you see that sign in the back?
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I noticed it, but I never wrote it down until this time, because I've seen the opening so many times that I was started looking for other things. And there's a big sign behind him at the beginning. It just says, anything goes Friday nights. Well, I can tell you where I'm not going to be on Friday nights. If the Sandman's going to be around there.
The other, I shouldn't say interesting thing, but the other weird thing about the opening is when they show the interviews, like when they show like a guy cutting a promo, there's like 4 times they just show this old fucking dude holding the mic.
I have no idea who that guy is.
I have no idea who it is either, but I'm like, who is that old motherfucker? Like, he never appears on the actual show.
Now, could some of the footage in the opening be from maybe TWA stuff? Maybe I don't know.
No, it's ECW stuff, but they used to run a lot of bought shows, a lot of sold shows.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to run, because I know that they ran in conjunction with the promoter in Maryland one time at a sports bar, and it was a sold show and stuff like that. And it's when it first started airing. I want to say it was on a cable access channel, even smaller than Sports Channel Philadelphia. It was on another channel, and he was probably somebody that worked for that channel, and he was just cutting generic spots,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who he was. Yeah, I have no idea. It's just an old man just standing there.
the weatherman, the weatherman from the TV station.
This is also the first episode where we actually get the bumper from Sports Channel on it at the beginning. They didn't cut that out.
Yeah, but maybe I didn't catch that. You're talking about where they show like the red and blue graphic?
Yeah.
Where it says, okay. I mean, that's the first time we've seen that?
That's the first time I've seen it, on the network.
Okay, maybe I'm just used to watching the old tapes that I have that, used to seeing.
It's the first time it creeped into the network.
Yeah. I actually missed the old Carver W.W. Reed commercials that they used to air during that all the time. It was always the same, like 5 commercials that would air that during them shows. And now I miss them, because when they go to breaks, you don't see any commercials. They're like, where's the Carpet W. Reed? Because everybody thought that it was well, I don't even know if it wasn't Todd's jewelry store. Everybody just assumed it was Todd's jewelry store.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I miss seeing some of them old commercials. But
we get our opening with Sully and Stevie. Paulie comes out, and Paulie calls after he sends Stevie Wonderful away. He calls Sully a butt face.
Yeah. He tells him to pull his. What did he say? Can you pull your underwear back so I can see your nose or something? And he calls him butt face.
Butt face. And then he also calls him Sucky Sully.
Sucky, yep.
Or whatever your name is.
Sucky Sully.
Is this the second or third time that Paulie's came out and sent Stevie Wonderful packing?
Second time.
Is it the second time?
Yeah.
Where he tells him to go back and watch the 9 monitors and be the director, blah blah blah. Like, is that to me? If I was Stevie Wonderful, I'd be going, all right. The rating's kind of on the wall now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I see where this is going.
He even shoots back at Paulie because Paulie goes, "I owe you one," and Stevie goes, "You owe me 2."
He's never going to see that. It's probably 2 paydays.
Checks in the mail, buddy.
Checks in the mail. HHG will be paying you in about 10 years.
He calls him Sucky Sully, butt face, and then he says ECW is a Mickey Mouse promotion.
Right. I mean, he's really putting it over.
No kidding. Last week's crack about the television production.
Yeah. I couldn't believe. Like, I'm actually not shocked whatsoever. But when they open up with going back to the title recap match, I think they showed way too much of it.
Yeah, just like the last one. Like, it's like their new thing is to, at the beginning of each show, to show last week's tag team match in its entirety.
Yeah, I mean, and it didn't get any better. I mean, it wasn't like they had some hidden spots that we didn't see during the first time it aired. I'm watching it going, it's still the same. It's not good. I mean, it's not awful. Mm-hmm. But it's just not good. You know what I mean? And nothing stands out. I mean, nothing spells a big, gigantic hot tag than a double hip toss. You know, when I was like, when it was running, I was going in and out of the kitchen because we did it last week. But when I came back in and I just saw Stetson and Winters give one of the blondes a double hip toss, I was like, wow. You know, this is awesome.
But yeah, we get the full tag team match from last week. In case we forgot that the Suicide Blondes every time I almost say Hollywood Blondes, the Suicide Blondes are the new tag team champions. And then, well, the story is moving along quickly with Sal Bellomo and the Super Destroyers, as Sal Bellomo is facing Super D1 here next on the show.
I couldn't tell which one that was. I think that was probably AJ Petrucci.
Is he the taller one? Because one's just a little bit taller than the other one, and I don't know which is which.
Well, I can tell by seeing them side by side, but when they're separated, it's hard for me to identify which one's which. Mm-hmm. But Doug is the big jacked one, the real thick one.
Okay,
the bigger one. That's Doug Stahl, and AJ's the other one. But AJ would have been around when Sal was in WWF, doing TV work, you know, extra work. So he probably wanted to work with AJ, you know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where this is going, but apparently we know where it leads to later on. But with you know, nothing majorly awful in that match. You know, again, It was one of them. Like, they're not really. It's almost like they're not booking like for the programs or, you know, for TV. They're all like booking for house show matches, you know, like they're not really setting anything on fire with any of these matches where you see, you know, like I said, a double hip toss is a hot tag. Come on, you know, you guys have been working together for like weeks now. And
yeah, they're like, listen, guys, we got to come back to the Cabrini in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you guys got to step it up a little bit.
We got to come back to the Cabrini in a couple hours. Yeah, make sure this shit works.
And that also comes into play later on when we talk about, because they were doing the rundown of who's going to be on the show, and the main event was going to be Sandman Morocco. And this, what I just said comes into play during the Sandman and Morocco match. Like, nobody's working for the future or the the next part of the angle. They're just like they're all treating them like it's just a jabroni TV taping. you know, and they're not doing anything spectacular. And then at some point during this, the other D comes in and they start double teaming Belomo, and then
the funniest thing about it is while they were because of his ongoing gimmick of getting in everybody's shit, while the Super Destroyers were beating up Sal, I wrote down, "Where is Tommy Cairo?" And then he came out, and I was like, "There is Tommy Cairo," because he's the guy.
You got to put the Cairo symbol up, man. He's the Batman of the early ECW,
and it backfires, right?
Cabrini needs me.
Yeah.
He must have graduated from there. He retired his number or something. Yeah, but didn't Sal accidentally hit him?
Confused Sal hits Tommy Cairo.
And you called it last week, Chad, on the slice of pizza, because they actually call his when you're talking about Sal with the pizza place, they call it the Big Pizza Splash.
Mega Pizza Splash.
I tell you what, man.
He does hit a fantastic drop kick in the match.
Oh yeah, I have that down too. I was like, for a guy his size and that age, he's got to be well into his 40s. You would think, right?
And he hits a great drop kick before the pizza splash.
Wasn't that a standing drop kick also?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's fantastic.
And then I actually made a note about checking out Sal Belomo's boots. He didn't have regular wrestling boots on. They had heels on them. They never like boots.
Yeah, like real boots. Yeah.
They had heels on them and stuff, and I'm like, that would have hurt.
Stiletto style hitting the drop kick.
Stiletto style.
So I'm assuming the match just ended in a DQ? Is that how? Is that DQ? Did he even announce what the outcome was? They just blew it off.
Sal pushed Tommy. Tommy looked shocked, and then we come back from the break, and Tommy's still in the ring.
No Sal match gets a fucking announcement of the finish of it. He used to see their wanders off or some people get involved.
Yeah, I got a little bit more to say about this next match coming up, because I'm really starting to get confused here as to what's going on with some of these guys.
We have Tommy Cairo and Glenn Osborne.
What we got? I really hope we can find. I'm just hoping we can really find, because I don't think it's on the network. I just hope we can find this Super Summer Sizzler on the YouTube.
It is on the network.
It is?
Yes.
The 93 Super Summer Sizzler?
Yes, it is under ECW Super Shows. It is on.
Okay, because Dick Murdoch's going to fight Doug Gilbert on this thing. I
don't think Murdoch even showed up.
He didn't? Well, that's a letdown. Because they were like,
I'm pretty sure I went to
It's going to be Dick Murdoch versus Patriot, and I'm like, fucking A.
I'm pretty sure I was at that show. Because we started going to the arena shows when they started coming to the arena. And I think they advertised Dick Murdoch maybe one time or twice. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that he eventually ever showed up for that show.
That's a fucking letdown.
Yeah, it is, because I've only got to see Dick Murdoch work live, being not on the shows, but either in the building, in the business, in the back, whatever, 2 or 3 times. And he's always one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But what you have, it was so Cairo was already in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? So they came back from break, and then they had the same Glenn Osborne out there.
Yeah.
Doesn't that already reek of who's going over in this match? Because then you had now Gilbert and Snuka.
Gilbert and Snuka against Cairo and Osborne, and Eddie just goes wackadoodle on Glenn Osborne at the beginning of this match.
What is on that?
And, wait! When he throws him out of the ring and just starts hitting him with all this shit?
Beating him up, and he beats him up past a fat guy in one of the most awkward outfits I've ever seen.
I mean, they just don't. I don't know why Gilbert's his mindset is like this, but they don't put any steam on local talent at all.
Mm-mm.
They're the ones that they have to come back to.
Right.
They're the ones that are going to be there every single week, every single month, and stuff. But goddamn, every single show they're doing jobs. The local guys aren't getting any steam whatsoever.
Right.
It's not like Snuka moved around the corner. and he's going to be there, at every taping and stuff like that. So why wouldn't you I could understand. I don't understand Cairo's position. But we've already seen Gilbert. Snuka and Osborne 3 times.
Yeah.
Since the TV title, whatever. Why don't you give Osborne something, to make the crowd be like, yeah, this guy's pretty decent,
Instead
Next month when Snuka's not here, but no, they give him nothing. The local guys get absolutely nothing.
They beat him around like a schlub outside the ring and hit him with a pop can, and I think he hit him with the ring bell hammer
and the mic.
And the mic. He's just hitting him with everything as his tag team partner stands idly by on the apron doing nothing.
I actually like the Eddie Gilbert's hot shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know whether Glenn was did they put it on Glenn or Cairo?
Cairo.
Okay, I don't know Cairo was close to the ropes, but it just seemed like it came off kind of more devastatingly than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like he hit it kind of hit it hard.
It's superficial or whatever, but this is my second favorite look for Eddie, like with his trunk, like with his tights. The white, those are my second favorite ones. I like when Eddie would wear the green with the flames and shit down like of it. The green tights were the best, but yeah, I like the white tight Eddie Gilbert.
Well, didn't that still have a little small one flame on the side too?
Yeah,
towards the bottom. I remember them trunks. I think I remember him wearing them before because later on when Eddie leaves, he pretty much sold all that shit at the gimmick table out in the building. Like when Paul took over and Eddie realized that his run was over and he was leaving, he set up a table right out there and sold his boots, his trunks, sold everything. I was there that night too.
Moving day.
Yeah, he realized he was going home.
Overall, this match, I don't know. It was like you said, it's not doing anything for the local guys. Now it put Eddie and Snuka over as heels pretty strong. I
thought it was I liked it. It was at least exciting. Like it.
Yeah,
it wasn't something that we'd seen before. I mean, we'd seen Snuka and Osborne, but at least it was somewhat fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like Snuka and Gilbert are eventually going to vie for the tag team belts, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there was literally that match could have ended in a no contest or a DQ. Or maybe how about Cairo and Glenn Osborne go crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something happens to Snuka, like where Snuka ends up getting powdered, and then it leaves Cairo and Glenn with Gilbert, where they can bounce them around a little bit, and Gilbert ends up running away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He grabs Snuka and powders, and then you leave Cairo and Osborne in the ring where they look like they got some heat or something.
Right?
They just beat him. No. Just beat him.
Just beat him. Anything else on that one?
No, it was a basic match.
I would have flipped who got pinned. I know you guys are talking about Osborne, but I would have let Osborne get pinned and saved Cairo. I think Cairo has the bigger upside if you're looking at the
absolutely, yeah,
2 stars.
Well, I think Cairo lasted. This is where we start getting into semantics and we don't know what they're thinking, but Cairo didn't last a whole lot longer than Osborne. Once Paulie, because I think Gilbert liked Glenn Osborne, and I think I saw with my own 2 eyes. I don't think Paulie liked Tommy Cairo because when Glenn, I don't know if Glenn got fired or he just decided to stop showing up. Maybe he just realized I'm not going anywhere here. And then Cairo was still around, but when Paul took over full helm of the booking, he put me over. So clearly Paulie didn't have any plans, for Cairo. So, so maybe you're right. Maybe Glenn had the bigger upside, but Cairo just lasted a little bit longer. And Glenn to me was like, he was like around the same stage I guess you would say that I was. Maybe I think maybe he'd been in the business a year or two. So, he didn't have like that seasoning, and Eddie could have took him aside and taught him something, like gave him a couple of, he could have beat up Benefico, or whatever, Beneficio, or, I think Gilbert liked him more than most of the guys.
When we first started this, I originally thought, and I thought wrong, because then I got to looking into it and thinking about it more. Originally, I thought that Osborne was here because of Snuka, but
Metal Maniac.
Yeah, I got him confused with Metal Maniac, which I guess is easy to do.
Yeah.
But
short, fat, chubby, long-haired guy with face paint.
Yeah,
it's easy.
No, I don't see any comparison there.
It's like confusing Dink with Wink. You're all right.
Maybe it's because I've been on too many shows with Jeff, the Metal Maniac. That I don't see that. Hey, brother. He called me one time because we did a show. You know how Snuka and Metal Maniac were a package deal.
Yeah.
They worked everywhere. Well, we brought in Snuka and him for a bought show. It's our biggest show of the year. We always drew well over 1,000 and blah, blah, blah. Well, we brought in like Barbarian or something one time and Warlord and Metal Maniac. And Metal Maniac reached out to me on Facebook a couple years ago because somebody told him that I might have the tape from that show. And I was like, I don't know, because I wasn't on that show. And he's like, well, if you have it, I'd like a copy because Barbarian would really like to see that match. And I was like, really? All the matches Barbarian was in, he wants to see that match at a high school. That was a bought show, you know what I mean?
I want to see Tommy Young.
I looked for it, and I didn't have it. And he keeps going, hey, brother, did you ever find that match? Barb keeps asking me. Okay, unless Barb is his wife, Barbara, because I don't think Barbarian is really going out of his way to get you to, pester to find this one match. It was the independent show.
I also heard a story that Metal Maniac at a show that he wrestled Jimmy Snuka in got in line to get an autograph from Jimmy Snuka.
And a picture, I think, too.
Yeah.
That may have been one of our shows.
This fucking guy.
I mean, we used to run these big shows. We ran this high school out in the western part of Maryland where it's very, very rural. Mm-hmm. And we would overcharge, like, the school. Like, because they would give us a list of names that they wanted. And they would always be Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
And we're like,
no,
realistic.
Saudis over there.
We were like, realistically, these are the guys you're going to be able to get, And then we would say like Jimmy Snuka, but we would say like, he's $1,000 when he was 500,
right?
And then we pay like Maniac like maybe 50 or 100, and then the promoter would pocket the rest. Kind of thing. We used to do that I don't want to say me because I was never directly involved in it. I used to work them all the time, but that's how they used to make money off these schools with all these bought shows, charging them $10,000-$12,000, and then bringing in what's the independent women's match? Peggy Lee Leather and
Lalani Kai. No,
one of them. The other one, whatever the one is. But yeah, when we would charge them like, oh, that's a $2,000 match.
If you want Judy Martin, you're gonna have to bone up the money.
Yeah. Not to mention,
maybe.
Not to mention, we could get Doink.
Which one?
the costume. We would just get the Doink costume and go look in the locker room and go
Metal Maniac in it.
Yeah, that shit was metal.
Metal Doink.
Is there a gimmick in the history of wrestling that got more mileage than fucking Doink? Let's be honest.
Hey man, I've worked shows in the last decade that my buddy Bob Starr still works as Doink. Like he'll do independent shows, like small or really small shows
Mhm.
that he'll still do doink at because he can make $100, doing gimmicks.
Right. So now we move
Well,
into.
hell, Nate, we saw that
Go ahead.
Sad Doink in Fort Wayne.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know who it was. Was it Ray
Sad
Apollo?
It wasn't
Yeah.
Ray Apollo.
We went to a show in Fort Wayne before the pandemic and there was a Doink there, and he was just the most miserable looking Doink you've ever seen,
Yeah.
and not like a sick clown, not like an evil clown Doink. It was just this
Like,
miserable
it wasn't a
looking
Matt
fuck.
Bourne Doink. It was just a nobody wants to talk to me or get my autograph sad Doink.
Oh, Matt Bourne doink was my favorite.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like that. It was just a dude dressed as Doink. And when
I
he was
love when my buddy Bob does doink, because my buddy Bob, like we love to travel together, and because we would always do these shitty small little local show, like independent shows where we're like an hour and a half away, where he'd pack his suitcase and he would have the doink costume in there. So he charged the guy doink rate, right? But then he would also, maybe 100 and a quarter or 150, and then he would sell gimmicks. But then he would also bring a red mask and red trunks, and he would go, "Hey, I can do the Russian assassin too." And then he would charge him for the Russian assassin, And then he would have his Hollywood Bob Starr gimmick. So he could work 3 times on the show, get 3 paydays out of the show. Like, that's a hustler.
Yeah.
Like on the independents. But to me, it was just me making fun of Bob. Like, come on, Bob.
That's some Jack Victory talent right there.
That's where I think he got the idea for the Russian assassin. Because you remember the old singlet, the red singlet that came over the strap, whatever, and it just had the red mask with the sickle on it.
Yeah.
And then you would always wonder why the Jack Victory and the Russian assassin were always on the same show. They were never at the same place together.
Never at the same, yeah.
But they were in the same building.
And then like the Thunderfoots. Like, how many other people did the Thunderfoots work as?
Well, wasn't one of them Gene Ligon?
Yep.
And I'm not familiar. I'm not exactly 100% sure who the other one was. It wasn't Ron Rossi. Could it have been I'm not sure. It could have been Dale Vesey. I knew one of them was Gene Ligon, because I knew Gene Ligon did a bunch of shit under the hood. It's definitely buttons.
And my favorite, like, generic looking masked dudes, and I know we're getting off of ECW topics here, but my favorite generic looking masked dudes were the gladiators on NWA. The guys that would work in the blue suits, because their masks, whenever they'd start getting, like, their masks would be on, and it would be covering their eyes and their mouth and all that shit. But when they would start getting the shit kicked out of them, by the time it was done, like, the nose would be down around their mouth and, like, into their mouth. It was just...
Well, you always knew that guys like that were going to go far when they had a full body suit that matched the hood. Like, because I've been currently watching some Georgia from '84, and Jimmy Hart's managing the New York Assassins, and it's literally Jerry Novak and I think Carl Fergie, and they're wearing the same exact outfits, the black top, the black trunks, the black mask.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go very far.
Did you say Joel? Did you bring up Joel Deaton as a Thunderfoot, Chad?
I don't think Joel Deaton was one of them.
He actually, I looked it up real quick just because I was wondering, and he was a Thunderfoot, and Ligon was too. Those were the only two that I saw listed on this thing that I was thinking. Just real quick.
Joel became a good hand.
So
them gladiators on the NWA, one of them's cutting a promo, and when he's trying to cut a promo, like I said, the mask falls down and it goes into his mouth, and he's still trying to cut the promo, and fucking David Crockett's interviewing him, and David Crockett, who's terrible, is interviewing him. As he's interviewing him, and the mask is going down into his mouth, fucking Crockett just starts laughing. Like he's not even trying to not. He's just like, like he's pointing at the guy and laughing at him. It's fucking fantastic.
Well, Aaron, I know you said that we were getting off topic with ECW, but in my opinion, that's a good sign.
Yes,
because we're not sitting here beating up, ECW.
The next thing on the show we're watching, Max Thrasher is headbutting JT Smith with a hockey mask on.
Yeah, he headbutted him 4 times with the hockey mask.
And this match was so great, they decided to break into it with an announcement from Jumpin' Jay Sully. Jumpin'.
This was probably the best part of the show.
Yes, it was. And again, this is where I said there's so much going on that's not even on TV, so you can see that they're starting to get somewhat, and maybe not on the TV show yet, but they're getting their footing as far as the promotion goes.
Well, the footage that we saw, because they cut right into JT and Max, and they didn't give them a whole lot of time, and then they cut right into Jumpin' Jay. But the footage that we saw happened after the Cabrini College shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't because Dark Patriot didn't come in until later on.
Yeah, I was going to say Dark Patriot was on there. In this footage, there's what is it? I think it's Chris Michaels, the third Suicide Blonde. You can see him in the footage. And then Hawk too.
Yeah, they're showing you the climaxes of things that are coming.
Mm-hmm.
So they already ran the ECW arena for a decent sized show. So they clearly tells you that there's not a whole lot of footage left out of the Cabrini College stuff. So that was a good show where they hung JT Smith from the where they threw him off the Eagles nest and all that shit. Like that was really good, and you could clearly see that JT Smith match was edited to death. It was probably way longer than they wanted it to be. And they had that good footage to put in there. So, yeah, I didn't blame them or fault them at all. But I don't even know what the finish was.
It's like Paulie's way of saying, please keep watching. I mean, something good coming. Like, you're going to see something.
I agree. It was like, hey, we got all this footage right here that happened after we taped all these shitty shows that we can show you, like, some highlights of this is what ECW is going to become. And, stick with it, Yeah. So, yeah, I totally agree. That's what they had to show something, in that spot.
Absolutely. And they, I put on here, we now have a Pennsylvania state champion, and the Simpsons broke up, apparently. Winters and Stetson. So we're going to, now I don't know is this stuff supposed to be coming up on the TV show, or was it just a taste? Like,
well, they're telling you this is what's to come. Basically,
I don't know. I must have missed that. Did they mention anything about Stetson and Winters breaking up?
Yeah. They showed them.
Shit, I don't know where I was at. I must have been walking out of the room or something because I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, Stetson. It looked like Stetson turned heel on Winter. I couldn't really tell. It was a small part of the footage. But it looks like
it would have had to have been Stetson, because as far as I remember, that Stetson was the one that went on to be the heel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do remember them eventually breaking up, but I just didn't catch it on this particular episode where they showed it or even mentioned it. So yeah, I guess that was just bad on me for not even paying attention.
And how could anybody boo the Fruit of the Doom?
Yeah, exactly.
With this puffy mullet and shorty shorts, nobody's gonna boo that guy.
I mean, literally, he comes to the arena and he has to have one of them grocery store bags because all he has is a pair of boots and his trunks. Like, there's no jacket, there's no elbow pads.
Yeah, there's no pads, there's no jacket. It's just
there's no tape. Like, there's no wrist tape or nothing like that. He just comes in with one of them plastic bags at the checkout line you get when you're buying milk and bread. That's awful. At least Stetson had some sort of a gimmick, like he had an outfit and shit.
I got pants, motherfucker.
Yeah. And then later on, I think Stetson tries to adopt he wears the hockey jersey thing. like later on. Because I was listening to another show today where they were talking about a 1995 show, and I tried to find it on the network, and it was where Cactus and Terry Funk like set everybody on fire or something. Because I don't even think I was at that show either. Like something tells me that either I was there and I didn't see that, or that I wasn't there. I was booked somewhere else. Because I could have been booked in Memphis by that point. Because it was like 95.
I know we're jumping ahead. I sometimes I jump ahead because stuff comes to my mind. Does Stetson? Does he wind up teaming with Donnie Allen later?
Yeah.
Is that who? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because you said the hockey jersey, and then that started coming into my head about.
I think he winds up teaming with me too.
Okay.
And we all know where we all know where that leads.
Nothing but success.
No, I believe there's a big chant of 911. No, Jess is over here motioning to her waist, saying that me and Stetson are going to be championship title holders. And I'm just like, no. It was up and down, end the story.
But you did what you needed. You played your part that evening in the ECW.
Well, after all this, I mean, we're making great time. We're rolling through this, but then we're quickly approaching the TV main event. Which this was for like was Sandman the ECW champion, or what belt was he?
Yeah, ECW champion. Snuka's the TV champion.
All right.
Sandman's
I had it mixed up.
Sandman's being challenged in this match by Don Morocco with his cumbersome waist for the ECW championship. They didn't mesh great in the ring in the least. I mean, the match didn't make me want to turn my TV off, but it really wasn't very good.
No, it was Morocco. It was like basically Morocco was having a squash match, but giving the guy
what's a squash
hope spots, because he would beat him up and then walk around the ring, and then give Sandman a little bit of a comeback spot. But it didn't lead to much, Like Sandman never really got that. He never got a chance to blow that comeback,
Right.
Because it all led to Morocco just cut them off again, and if Gilbert would have known where he was going with this, I'm just guessing. This is what I'm saying is that Gilbert should have told Morocco, "Hey, we got to put a little bit of fire into this, a little bit more steam, because we're putting the belt on you." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to keep this guy kind of like, we want to keep him warm, keep him hot, So we got to make this match mean a little more than just a regular 10-minute TV match, with some sort of a fuck finish. Because I started to panic when Morocco got him up for that pile driver thing.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm thinking like, there's no way you could not bury the Sandman this easily in a title change, Like if you give him the tombstone pile driver and you pin him like that, then he's just dead in the water. And then when I started seeing Hack's legs flailing, and I'm like, please don't tell me you're going to try to do that double over the top spot.
Well, and there were two things I was going to bring up real quick about the match and why I said it was is they didn't work well together and Morocco didn't want to work, because there was that spot where it almost looked like Sandman wanted to do that and Morocco didn't. And then there was also the spot where Sandman clotheslined Morocco out of the ring, and Morocco just took it very.
Yeah, he just kind of like rolled.
He didn't put any fire on Sandman at all.
There's a couple spots in this match that I was talking about, but that I was going to talk about. But there's also this match got so boring for the commentators that they even started talking about Sandman's Dayglow outfit.
Shoelaces.
Yeah, his Dayglow shoelaces. And if Dayglow was cool or not. Like, if that's the best thing you got to talk about during the fucking match, it's like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm just glad that Sandman never got the opportunity to go to Mexico and work lucha. Because when he did that spot where he jumped over the top rope to lead to a clothesline, that you would have thought was going to be like the Hangman Page buckshot lariat spot, and then he almost tripped over the top rope to begin with, So he basically just hopped over the top rope, landed on his feet, and like ran at Morocco for the clothesline, and he almost tripped doing that. You know, I'm just like, I don't know what he was trying to do, but it just came off poor and sloppy. And then right before that, there was a quick shot of Peaches out on the ring, like out on the ring apron. And I was like a lot like you, Aaron, where I got so lost in the match about it not being good, and I wasn't very interested. I wrote, "Is Peaches good looking?"
No,
because I'm just like, I know it's 1993. You know what I mean? And like,
she's not even 93 milf hot. She's not.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I know Saved by the Bell was still kind of on. You know what I mean? And they have a certain kind of hotness on that show. But I'm going, is Peaches good looking? And I'm looking at her, I'm just like, damn, I don't think she is.
No, but Stevie Wonderful, he says she's like, they show her, and he goes, I don't know if she got bumped or whatever, but I wrote down in my notes that Stevie Wonderful asked, how many times do you think Peaches has been off her feet?
Wow, who said that?
Stevie Wonderful said that.
Wow.
He knows he's on his way out, so he's just saying whatever now. He's like, fuck it.
She's a whore.
I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of positive to say about that match. I don't think it was bad. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of awful work. There wasn't a whole lot of work, period, in the match. There wasn't any blown spots, something like that. So I ended up just writing boo. I
saw one thing, and Chad, you're a worker, so you're gonna know if I'm off kilter or off kilter with this or not. But there's that spot where Sandman was on the apron and he was like holding on to the ropes, and they were like exchanging blows or whatever. And it looked like Sandman was wanting to grab the ropes and then flip into Morocco and hit him with like a sunset flip. And Morocco was just like, nope, like I'm not doing that. Like,
yeah, they easily could have been building to that. And I don't know how Morocco calls his matches. I don't know if he calls them in the ring or whatever. But I could see where you would see Sandman was trying to hope for it. You know, he was kind of hoping that the more I bounce back, the more that I had the opportunity to maybe catch him in the gut where I can sunset flip him. But he just kept giving him left hands.
Yeah, Morocco.
That's where he did the clothesline, right?
I'm not doing that, brother. He was just like, nope, not today, brother. He just didn't want to do
that. Isn't that where he did the over the top rope clothesline spot?
Yeah.
And while he was leaning on the ropes, bouncing back and forth, he gave him like 3 or 4 big left hands. Like Sandman's punches, because he's a lefty, they aren't the worst, but they're not great, but they're stiff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to judge whether they're good or not because they don't look great. You know, like a Terry Funk left haymaker or whatever. Yeah. But they're stiff. So you can't take away from the fact they're good.
It really looked like Hack wanted to do a sunset flip over the top, and Don Morocco.
Yeah, Don Morocco wasn't having
it. Was like, nah, I'm good.
You know, honestly, guys, it could have been mutual. It could have easily have been mutual. Like, Sandman could have wanted to do that spot, but then Sandman would also probably said, I'm not even sure I can pull this off.
This man does have a cumbersome waist.
Yes.
A self-admitted cumbersome waist.
Oh, then right about now is when I just yelled, "Oh no, the Rockin' Rebels out there!"
And I was like, "Fuck yeah, the Rockin' Rebels out there!"
I can't believe he put the boots to Peaches. I mean, I literally didn't think, and this is not even like, I'm not even like shooting going, because they really didn't do a whole lot of male-female violence.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Peaches is like knocked out on the floor and Rebels over there like putting the boots to her, and I'm like, I wonder if Paulie gave him the okay to do that or if Rebel just did it. You know?
Yeah. Either way, it worked. I mean, it.
Well, it took her out of the match.
When Rebel showed up, I was excited. I was like, yeah.
We get the phone spot with Paulie coming in with the phone. They don't know what they want their rules to be yet, I think, in this company either, because there's times where things like, for example, during that tag match, the Gilbert Snuka match, you know, there was all that chaos going on, and the referee just kind of stood around like an ECW referee would later in years, and just has to kind of watch it happen and be there for the count. But then there's also spots where they're trying to, they do a ref bump and they're trying to do things behind the ref's back. I don't think they knew what they wanted their rules to be yet, as far as what's legal, what's illegal. They're just kind of booking. The rules are based on the match, it seems like, at this point, whatever the story we want to tell.
That's Memphis right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's just typical Memphis shit,
True.
The referee can, like, it's okay. It's okay for, the main event guys to not necessarily tag in and out and do all kinds of shit like that. But in the undercard, the referee's going to be counting one, get out of the ring, one, kind of shit. And and of course the baby face is kind of bitching, like, you're missing what's going on over there, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's like you said, the rules vary depending on the match, which is like what to me is AEW.
Well, I was going to say, and at this time, this is 93. So, I mean, precedent set by WrestleMania 9, because WrestleMania 9 was kind of the same way. The rules this mattered in this match, but it didn't matter in this match. So I guess that's par for the course.
Anything goes with the Cabrini brother.
Which referee was this? Was this the guy with the black hair? Because I started seeing this other referee. There's Molyneux and Finnegan, and then there was this other black-haired referee that I saw scattered in every once in a while, and he looked like, I think he was the referee during the Sandman Morocco match, because he looked completely intimidated.
Yeah.
Like, almost like he couldn't believe he was in the ring of Morocco. And I'm going like, you can't believe you're in the ring with Sandman.
Who the hell are you? How'd you get in the ring?
So you start seeing this other referee. So maybe he was a friend of Morocco's, you know what I mean? Or I don't know what his deal was, but you start seeing another referee, because I know Molyneux and Finnegan. I don't know what their resume was prior to ECW, but they knew how to work ECW. It took them a little while because they probably like us didn't know the rules. Like when Gilbert's doing that shit to Glenn Osborne outside the ring. Like Finnegan had to figure out, I got to turn my back to this somehow.
Right.
I can't. I got to figure out a way to get distracted where they can't see me staring at it.
I have to go over here.
And just watch the match. It's like hot dog.
Yeah. Because the other guy never came in to kind of cause the distraction. So the referee had to find the reason why to turn his back while Gilbert's out there beating the shit out of him. And did you notice there was no Terry Funk promo on this show at all?
Yeah, nothing. Nothing from the Funkster on this,
except for the cryon at the bottom of the screen about promoting whatever the Super Summer chair. It was, the chain match. There was not even an old recycled Funk promo again. And
Gilbert didn't even mention him during the show, I don't believe, when they did the promo at the end. Yeah.
I didn't hear his name mentioned at all. I thought by the end of that match that they basically kind of killed off the Sandman a little bit. Like maybe somebody backstage started talking to the Sandman behind the scenes and realized maybe you're not the surfer guy. Maybe we don't know what you are yet.
Maybe your Dayglow gotta go.
Yeah, Dago. Yeah, maybe they didn't know what he was yet. So yeah, I'm starting to get that vibe. Get rid of the surfer gimmick, because they made a couple references about him being a bum and Morocco being the real surfer guy. And
let hack be hacked.
I did think this show was a great sign of things to come, because it looked like they put a little more effort into tying the ends together, making stuff make more sense. It wasn't that the angles were bad or like that. In my opinion, it was the execution. It was who they had working with the stuff. The players that were involved. The angles were fine. It was just the players. Matches had no heat. They weren't booked you'll start seeing it later on. How every match had Paulie would get with everybody and tell them hey, this match is going to air on this date, or we're building towards this, so we need you to do this. It didn't seem like they had that same kind of continuity when Gilbert was running the show. It was like, all right, these are the matches, go out there and do them.
I just wanted to bring up real quick because now I've finally caught up, I think, with what I have available for the Pro Wrestling Torch. So this show was June 1st. It aired June 1st. So I went with the June 7th Torch. The only thing in the ECW notebook in the Torch for this week, and I don't think it actually winds up happening to my knowledge, it says Lance Russell and Paul E. Dangerously will host the June 19th ECW TV taping.
Lance Russell ain't never in ECW.
I don't think Lance Russell ever made that appearance.
No, because as far as I know, and I could be wrong, I think the Cabrini College shows are the only TV tapings that I don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I started seeing like the video packages for other stuff where they're in the studios for upcoming shows and all that stuff, I have all that stuff. And I don't remember even Lance Russell being brought up. I think I remember him then saying about he's going to host the show, but yeah, I don't think there's any chance.
Yeah,
there ain't no chance Lance Russell showing up in ECW.
Because that would have probably ended up bringing in Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There would have been a tie-in somewhere there. There's no way. Why would you just bring in Lance Russell?
Especially the ECW.
Glenn Osborne. Yeah, not.
That ain't gonna happen.
You need somebody else to beat up Glenn Osborne? So, because Lance would have been what? This is 27 years ago. He would have been in his mid 60s,
yeah.
late 60s.
I don't even know at this time if he was still doing USWA.
He was.
Was he? I couldn't remember if it was just Dave Brown and Corey Macklin at this point or not.
Oh no, not Corey Macklin, Dave Brown. Oh man, I think that came around
95.
Well, a little bit during 95 because Lance was still around during the Smoky Mountain feud.
Yeah.
But then they brought in let's see, 96, 97. Michael St. John was in for a little while. And then it became basically Dave Brown and Corey Macklin.
Michael St. John and his mustache.
When
Michael St. John comes, you have to pay for his mustache too. Did you know that? His mustache gets a rate.
That's
it. Corey Macklin. What's your opinion on Corey Macklin, Chad?
He's the best. He's the king here. Corey Macklin. I just did a little bit more research on him recently because I have all of his DVDs, the ones that he licensed that he basically stole from Lawler.
Yeah.
You've heard that story, right?
Oh,
where
yeah.
Lawler had no idea that Corey Macklin was selling the best of these Memphis. I have all of them, every single one of them. And I didn't realize.
He sold the rights and was like, if you can find it, you can sell it, brother.
Well, that's because it was public domain.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew who the hell owned that shit. So when he bought it for like $100, that somebody said, "Hey, if you buy all these, you get the rights to the footage or whatever." And Lawler was like, "What the hell is it?" I just like Corey Macklin for the fun of it. I don't think he was good by any stretch of the imagination, but I just love when he's like, "The king here, the superstar." Yeah, Corey was great, but nothing beats Lance Russell and Dave Brown, the leather clown.
Well, I actually gave this show a 3. It's the first time I've given one of these shows a higher than a 2. This show was not. It was terrible. It was decent.
I give it 2.5.
No, I'm not even going anywhere near that. I gave it something because the last couple of shows I just completely shit on and didn't even want to give it a ranking or whatever. Mm. Yeah. How about this? I noticed this show, so I'll give it that. I noticed that it was on, and I noticed that they started trying. But if I had to give it something, a solid 1.25. I would say 1 and probably 3/4 because I liked where they were going. Like I said, my biggest problem was just the execution. Mm-hmm. Was the people that were the players in the whole entire thing. Because imagine if you had guys like Lawler in there, or or other talent to take the place of Glenn Osborne or Tommy Cairo. You had guys that were more talented, that had more time in the business. All that stuff would have been done better.
Right.
But it's just all the level of experience them guys had were probably no more than 3 or 4 years apiece. Besides AJ, who, did jobs in the 80s and mid 80s for the WWF.
Mhm.
Other than that, Doug Stahl only had a couple years in. Glenn was just breaking in. Winters, he's been around forever. I'm pretty sure Winters was back in the DuPont network days.
Wool tights and shit.
Yeah. And you had Stetson, so there's not a wealth of experience with these guys. So they're getting a chance.
And the guys that do have the experience don't want to put these guys over.
No. So yeah. It defeats the whole entire purpose. So It's like you're giving these young guys with no experience an opportunity to work with guys with experience, but the guys with experience don't want to do the fucking, the right thing and make these guys look good. It's like, why? Why put these guys over and make them look good? Well, because you're going home. And these guys are coming back. So we need these guys to look strong, but they did nothing. Not a single guy in the whole entire ECW roster, with the exception of Candido and Hotbody, only because they worked with other locals.
Right.
Were the only guys that maintained any sort of momentum or any sort of steam to carry on the company once everybody leaves. It just makes no. Max Thrasher. We're going to see that. We're going to see the end of Max Thrasher coming up soon. Because this is not a knock on Max, but once you see the ring change is when you're not going to see a Max Thrasher anymore. And like you guys said, that next week we start the ECW arena stuff, correct?
Let me see. Well, all right. Here's your summary from the WWE Network for next week. The Sandman looks for redemption by challenging Don Morocco for the ECW Championship in a main event rematch. Tensions between the Super Destroyers and ECW Tag Team Champions, the Suicide Blondes, explode. Terry Funk's rivalry with Hot Step Eddie Gilbert continues, and more. And looking at this screenshot, because Hawk is on this show. So it's got to be in the ECW arena, because I don't think Hawk was in Cabrini.
No, it wasn't. But see, that also may have been in conjunction with a couple of weekend shows. Like Hawk could have been working the Northeast Independence that weekend to begin with. So he could have had a Friday night show, like for Carl Luzo or somebody else, and then he just happened to be around the area, so Gilbert brought him in because I think Hawk was only there for I want to say maybe either one taping or two tapings. He wasn't there very long.
Yeah, because I think he's in this, and then I remember for some reason in my head seeing him in one of those shows that is like, it doesn't look like it's in the arena. It looks like they had it at a sports bar or something, like one of those kind of things. But
I remember. I'm not exactly sure when I come in, but I was on a show with Road Warrior Hawk because we had what we called the Triple Shot Weekend of Love. It was the Plymouth shows. We did a show, I think in Plymouth, Pennsylvania. I can't think of it. It's a historic place, like the building or whatever. And then Paulie had a bus, and then we did a show at a Delaware high school. And then we had the show, I think on Sunday was the TV tapings at the arena, because I remember Hawk. We were in a battle royal at this Delaware high school, and the only thing I remember was Hawk backed me up into the corner, and the next thing I know, I was literally 6 feet above the ropes, flying across the ring, and then literally you can see my head turn and look at him, and all I heard was Beal, and I was already launched. Like I was in midair, and I heard Hawk go Beal. I'm like, all right, so I got to figure out somehow to bump. Like, while I'm already flying through the air. But that's the last I believe Hawk was there for. Because what was the show? I don't even know if it aired, where Funk puts the was it Funk has the bag put on his head? You remember that?
Yeah, but I don't know if we're going to see that in this coming up or not. I don't know.
We have to be getting around there. sometime soon. Maybe it was towards way more towards the end of '93, because I believe that Gilbert was pretty much done at Ultra Clash.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that? September?
That's in October, I think.
October?
I believe.
Okay,
yeah.
So yeah. This could have been like November or December. So yeah. Hawk would have been a guy that came in part-time. And I don't remember if they put a belt on him or not. I don't recall.
We are going to find out as we trudge through more ECW. As we wrap up here, guys, Aaron, do you have anything to say to end the show here? Any more thoughts?
No, I just thought this was a good show, and God bless Don Morocco.
Yep, the old Cumberston.
And his Cumberston waist.
You need to come out to that song.
The Seven Mary 3 song?
Seven Mary 3 Cumberston.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think where they're going, I'm excited about where they're going. To me, it was just the players and the execution that was not. Yeah, but other than that, I did like the direction they were going.
Any other parting words for our listeners, Chad, before we sign off this week?
No, I just can't wait to get out of the goddamn culinary school of arts, whatever college that they're in, and get into, because I can't wait till we start. I can't wait till we get to the arena stuff where we have the guys with the what do they call the front row people? Murderers Row.
Yeah.
It's Murderers Row with all the guys in the front row, because I have a theory. I have a theory about them guys that you guys are totally probably going to kill me on, but if you think about it, it will make sense coming down the line. So I can't wait to get into that stuff, because that's when you're going to start. I'm not necessarily positive that you're going to see me on any of these shows, like in the crowd, but I start going to these shows.
Cool.
And that's when I never even knew about the Cabrini College stuff, honestly, until we started doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew they ran anywhere, but we did that show at Drexel College, but I was already working there. So right. This Cabrini's College stuff was all new to me. But other than that, no. I mean, you could always just follow me on Twitter as Chad Austin Demira, and follow and listen to the We Can't Wrestle podcast. I'm putting you guys over.
Thank you. And
I'm barely ever on it, but it's a good show.
Also, your buddy's podcast too. Why don't we mention that again while we're on here? The Vinyl podcast. Yeah, it's Hip Hop Vinyl Spinners. It's a podcast, but he let me know today that he's having a little problems with his platform where he's what he's using. But he was reaching out to me, which I'll see him this Friday. I'm going down to see him this weekend. And he asked me about our platform because he's having a problem with his. So he's like, don't bother putting it over anymore because I'm taking a hiatus till I can figure out how I'm going to retool it. Okay. Well, if you need to put it.
There's back issues. It's the Hip Hop Vinyl Spinners podcast. They review a hip hop record, So there's plenty of previous archives to check out.
All right. Sounds good. Well, everybody, we want to thank you for joining us once again this week on another edition of the 2300 Pod. And as our broadcast colleague Jay Sully would say, we'll sign off by saying we'll be right back next week.